What is up, my viewers and subscribers? I am Mike Wayne, aka Rebel180. Now, before I begin this story, I just need to make something clear that I didn't in the last video. You see, when I started the whole story time with the Rebel, I would sit at the side of my bed and I would record with my HD camcorder. But the thing is, uh, I don't really find any need for it. You see, the thing about the camcorder is it's a lot harder to upload. Like, videos take longer to upload with the camcorder than, the camcorder videos take a lot longer to upload than webcam. I don't know why, but it does. So, from now on, I am only going to use the camcorder for special occasions, like when I'm outside or at a friend's house or something. Maybe I'll use the camcorder for like, uh, commentary adventure or whatever. Or I could use the webcam, I don't know. But anyways, this story is not like the others. This story is not going to be like the first 4 episodes. This is episode 5 of Storytime with the Rebel. And I'm just going to talk about growing up in the 90s. You see, for me, growing up in the 90s, I was a huge superhero fan. And the thing about that is, um, I would pretend to be a superhero, and I actually thought that I was a superhero at times, because to me, I was abnormally strong, I felt fast, I felt tough, but it wasn't until later on that I realized just how far from super I was. Because nowadays you got people in the NFL, guys, heavy set guys, bigger than me, running 5.7s, and that, I mean, right now I can't. Right now I can barely run a 6.6, and I don't know, like, so this actually started. This actually went on from age 6, I think, to age 18. Like I said, a huge comic book fan. Well, not comic books, just huge superhero fan. I thought, at times to me it did seem like I had powers. But I've outgrown that phase. Although I am about fitness. But the thing about that is, growing up in the 90s, I didn't always take exercise so seriously. I didn't start taking exercise seriously until I was 17. And then, then I slacked off for a little bit, and I'm trying to get back on track. But also, growing up in the 90s, when I was a kid, I wouldn't always have time to watch my morning shows, because morning shows nowadays are just, there is no morning lineup. Not the ones that I grew up with. Like, it's nothing like I grew up with. I watch these morning shows now. But anyways, growing up in the 90s, I would watch great shows like the, the Disney characters, their little episodes, and I would watch Digimon, all that stuff. And my mom would tape them so that when I would go to, like when it was time for me to go to bed, she would tuck me in and then put in the VHS tape because it was the 90s. I mean, they didn't have DVD players back then. Uh, she would tuck me in and put in the VHS tape, and I would watch the shows that I didn't get to watch in the morning before I went to bed, before I went to sleep. So, yeah. So you could say I had a pretty good childhood, pretty fun childhood, memorable and all that. Uh, I didn't, I always liked music, but I didn't actually get into the whole singing thing until I was like 13, and I started writing songs at 16. So yeah. Um, but anyways, you know, I also enjoyed playing with my cousins. We would go outside and just, find something to do. Uh, that was always fun. I would also play baseball with my brother and dad and, anyone else who was around. We would ride our bikes and all that. You know, we we just had a pretty good time because, like, when I first moved into this house, there wasn't a lot of there wasn't a lot of inside activity. Most of the stuff I did was outside, you know. So I had a pretty good time. And growing up in the 90s, we had some pretty good games to play. Uh, anyone who grew up in the 90s knows about, uh, anyone who grew up in the 90s knows about uh, Mario, Donkey Kong, Sonic, you know, uh, they had Simpsons games, like there was this one where you could play as Bart Simpson, and uh, you you had to test out this virtual reality thing, and uh, you would play as different versions of Bart. And the same thing with Bart's Nightmares, which is on the Sega Genesis. Uh, and the PS1 games, which you know weren't really from the 90s, but it's important to mention those because when uh, that's when I started really getting into gaming. Uh, because I beat the very first game I ever beat was on the PlayStation. It was called Ape Escape. Uh, it was one of the most fun, like it was one of the funnest games I've ever played on the PlayStation. It's about a kid named Spike. He, you know, you have to play as this kid named Spike, and you have to capture apes with some sort of time net or whatever, and you have to send them back to the zoo where they escaped. And you can do all this by using special gadgets designed by a professor. Yeah, and games like Rampage were fun. You know, well, I should say, growing up I should say that my childhood mostly was just me growing up in the early 90s and early 2000s, pretty much, because that's when those are the moments that I remember the most when it comes to stuff like that. You know, I would play football with my cousin and brother and all that, and you know, it was fun at times. I enjoyed it. Yeah. So that's pretty much everything that I have to say about that. So please rate and comment, and please rate, comment, and stay tuned for my other videos. I am Mike Wayne, aka Rebel 180. So long for now.